listening to the Healthy in Real Life podcast, episode number 190.
Welcome to the Healthy in Real Life podcast, bite-sized tips for healthy living that you can implement right now. Join us weekly for interviews and real-life advice for creating the happiest and healthiest version of yourself. Here's your host, fitness expert, author, and mom of two, Gina Harney.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. This is Gina, creator of the Fitnessista blog and brand. I'm so excited that you're here today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we have a short and sweet solo episode today. But before we dive in, I wanted to tell you about Organifi. So that's actually what I'm drinking today in my little Peloton cup right here. It's Organifi Green. I've had this for years. It's one of my all-time favorite things. I love their products. They have so many great ones. They have Harmony, the red, the gold. I love their She Legit gummies. They also have creatine gummies now. But the green is, I feel like, such a good place to start because so many of us are not eating 7 to 9 fruits and vegetables per day. So it really gives us an awesome dose of micronutrients. So it has spirulina, chlorella, also has moringa, lemon, mint. It has kind of like a nice lemony, minty flavor, so it's not offensive at all. It's actually very delicious. It also has ashwagandha, which is a really great adaptogen for dealing with stress response. So definitely check it out. You'll just head to Organifi. I have a link in the show notes, and you'll enter the code FITNESSISTA. So it's FITNESSISTA, and that'll get you 20% off. So head to the link in my show notes for Organifi, enter the code FITNESSISTA, and you'll get 20% off. So let's head into today's episode. And before we do that, I want to give a shout out to my new podcast manager, Eric, who has been absolutely crushing it. He reached out to me a couple of months ago, and I just had to ask myself, like, is it worth investing in the podcast? I kind of feel like it's dying a little bit, but at the same time, it's always been something that I've really enjoyed. So it hasn't been a huge revenue driver for me or anything like that, but I love being able to connect with you guys on the podcast. I love interviewing amazing guests. I think that podcasts are just so accessible, and I love the just bite-sized content, so you can just get some tips, apply what works for you, move on with your life. So I love the idea of the podcast. I'm like, do I want to do this? Do I think it's going to help? Is it going to grow? Is it going to do anything? And our first month together, we had a 700% growth. So thank you, Eric, for helping with the part of the podcast that was always the hardest for me, and that was the editing. I had done absolutely everything myself. I think I've been doing the podcast for, oh my gosh, almost 7 years now, since we lived in Valdosta. So I had been doing the editing piece myself, and that was always the part that I dreaded the most. So thank you for doing that for me. He's been absolutely amazing to work with, and he's just helped me already just take my podcast to the next level and reach more people. And thank you guys so much for just helping me spread the word about the show. It means the world to me. So yay to more podcast episodes. And I'm so excited that we're now on YouTube. So you can head to my YouTube channel. It's just youtube.com/fitnessista. And there are videos now there as well. So let's head into today's show. So we have a solo episode today, and I have some questions that you guys sent over that we will be using. Let me just pull those up really quickly. So Q&A style post, and I just put the call out on Instagram, ask you for your questions. So I have 4 today that I'm going to answer. And if you ever have questions for the podcast, just hit me up on email. You can send an email to gina@fitnessista.com and just put podcast in the subject line so that I see it, and we can answer more of these here on the show. So the first one is tips for budgeting for vacation and planning for trips. So the way that we do it is every year, usually sometime after the new year, we'll just sit down together and we'll map out the entire year. So we'll plan out what trips we have coming up, big events, any work travel that I have. His schedule is obviously, it's a little bit more dynamic, so it changes a lot. So we'll map out the whole year, just what we have going on and planned, and then we'll also map out our budget. So this is where we'll look at any big trips that we want to take, any home improvements, anything the girls have going on, also any investments that we want to make or set aside. We'll use that time for that. So that's kind of how we budget for trips. It's usually just a loose framework because things change all the time. With our last Spain trip, I completely snuck the cruise onto the trip, which was a little extra, but so worth it. Highly recommend. So that helps to give us a framework and a budget, and we just set that money aside and we know that that's what we're using that money for, and then just kind of go from there. It really does make a huge difference for things that happen every year and about how much they'll cost. So things like the girls' birthday parties or birthday gifts or Christmas presents, we can kind of just allocate that money aside for those things. So that's how we budget for our trips. I'm 1000% a deal hunter, so I will find deals for everything. For our Spain trip, we were there a little bit longer, so we stayed at an Airbnb and it was not expensive. So I found the area where I knew we wanted to stay, looked through all of the different pricing options. So I found an option that was fairly inexpensive. I'll do that for hotels as well. We use our military discount. We also use credit card points for a lot. So usually when we travel, our hotels are almost always free because we use credit cards. I use them, American Express Platinum. We use that for everything. So we put everything on the Amex except for my business expenses. I'll put those on our Southwest card. So we have Southwest points, and then we also have Amex, and then we have a Delta Amex that we'll use for random things. Like I have it attached to my Venmo. We pay our babysitter using the Delta, so we'll use that for Delta flights, which is pretty nice. But credit card points can be such a game changer. So like I said, hotels are almost always free. The Amex gives you really great perks, so we can check in early. We often get late checkout. They'll upgrade us if there are upgrades available. Lounge access when we travel. It's pretty amazing. I find that it absolutely pays for itself when it comes to the benefits and for how often we're able to use points, because we just put everything on the Amex and then we pay it off. Every 2 weeks, I'll pop my referral link in the show notes if you guys are interested in checking it out. Not a pitch, but I will say that I absolutely love it. So that's what we do for stays. And then as far as planning the trips, I'm not one of those people that goes absolutely crazy planning every single detail of our trip. I feel like we could do that when we were younger and we didn't have kids, but also we usually didn't want to do that. We just wanted to be there and wander into a restaurant or just know 3 or 5 places we had to see while we were there, and we would kind of map it out from there. With the kids, we do like to have a little bit more of a structure, but not necessarily a schedule, because I feel like that makes everyone feel more stressed. And for myself personally, I just feel like I would be disappointed if it didn't go the way that I had planned it. So I think a big lesson for kids in general is just dropping your expectations, and then you will be pleasantly surprised. So if you get on a plane with a baby and you're like, my expectation is that my child is going to sit here and play with their toys and they're going to be completely happy, and then they cry the whole time and then you feel bad. If you have no expectations, it's like, whatever happens is going to happen today. That's usually how it'll go. So I feel like you're often pleasantly surprised when you do it that way. So for trips, I'll usually have either an event or a planned meal each day. So we might have like dinner reservations at a really nice place. If it's a shorter trip, I might have 2. So like an activity and a meal, but that's it. So we might have dinner reservations, we might be going to a cool breakfast spot, and then we're sightseeing one thing or place in the afternoon, and that's it. I feel like anything more than that is just too much for our family. I think the kids just get tired and they like to have a little downtime in the afternoon, even though they're older now and they're not napping. I think still maintaining almost like a siesta or nap time is great for everyone. So just having a little bit of recharge time in the afternoon is such a game changer. So that's kind of how I map out our trips. We do have a travel agent that we love that helps us sometimes if it's somewhere that we haven't been before. She can help us with great recs. Her name is Laura Allen, and her Instagram is Laura Allen here. So if you want to hit her up on Instagram, she's amazing. So she'll help us with trips. But for the most part, I feel like I like to do it myself because I like to hunt for deals. I like to use points, and we're not super planners. So hope that helps a little bit. All right, friends. So question 2 says, raising daughters, fostering a strong relationship, healthy body image, all the things. So this is something I am not an expert on. I feel like I'm learning every single day. I feel like I'm failing all the time. I think that so many moms can relate with that. We want the absolute best for our kids, but we all have those moments where like, oh my gosh, am I doing everything wrong? I have no idea. Some of the things, so I won't share with you all the failures, but I will share a handful of things I do think I am doing right. And this first one took me a long time to realize. So Liv is a teenager now. She's 13. And I learned with teens not to nag them. And that has been such a helpful thing in our relationship. You can remind them about things, but I try not to, because I feel like sometimes with teenagers, it's like they're so grouchy. But it's like the last 10 things you told them were things they had to do. So it's like you're not interacting with them all day, and then you're like, hey, clean your room. Hey, make your bed. Hey, did you do your homework? Oh, don't forget, you have this thing tonight. And it's not fun interaction. So of course they're a little grouchy. I would be grouchy too if I felt like people were picking on me all the time. So I feel like just keeping things soft and chill and friendly, the same way you would talk to a friend. You can of course still remind them to do things, but don't make it a cascade of nags in a row. I also read something that you should make the dining room table a nag-free location in your house, and that's absolutely something that we've tried to implement. So no reminding or nagging about anything while you're at the dinner table. So just make that a fun family activity, a chance to connect, enjoy a nice meal together. So that's something we've been doing. Something recent that we've been doing that I absolutely love, I cannot believe we waited this long to do it, is we got one of those skylight calendars. I wish I could like pick this up and show you, but it's in our kitchen. And it's a 15-inch frame. And it's really nice because when it's not active, like you're not working on it, it's like a photo album, photo screen. So it shares photos and they change, and it's kind of nice just to see family photos. But when you click on it, you can see your whole month. You can go day, week. You can look and see what you're having for meals. You can also put chore charts in there, and that has been so awesome because the nagging has significantly decreased for both children. They have their chores for the day, and they go through and they check them off, and they get stars. So they get rewards. So X amount of stars is this reward. So P is, she's very motivated by these things. She loves to gamify things. So she's obsessed with checking off her little thing. And they're things like brush your teeth, make your bed, clear your dishes from the table, feed the guinea pig, make sure Maisie has water. Like P's are very, very simple, and we've been able to add in extra chores that she's like, she wanted to do the dishes, so I put dishes, and she got some bonus stars, and she was pumped about it. And same thing for Liv. She'll just go through at the end of the night. She's like, I read for 20 minutes, I moved my body for 20 minutes, I brushed my teeth, and she's just clicking all of the bubbles. So that's been awesome. As far as body image goes, I feel like this is such a complicated topic. I think for so many women like myself, we grew up in that time where we were just bombarded with negative messaging about bodies, diets, calories, being skinny, all the things. And we absolutely do not want that to impact how we raise our children and have them influenced in the same negative way that we were. So for myself, this has always been so important to me. So I never talk about their body's appearance, anybody else's body's appearance, my body's appearance in front of them ever. So that's something I just have never done. When people do it in front of them, I get very upset about it. I'm like, please stop. We do not body shame in our house. I've had to call out like family members before, super uncomfortable. But it's just a hard no for me. It's just not something that we do in our house. As far as food goes, I've tried to never just be weird about food. So we don't have any good foods or bad foods. They know that some foods are more nutrient dense than other foods. Some foods make us feel really good and give us energy, and other foods just taste delicious and they don't really have any nutrient value, and that's okay too. And I feel like they've learned over time what foods make them feel good and what foods don't make them feel so great. So like they'll go to a birthday party and they'll have a ton of food dye, and they'll be crying and bouncing off the walls afterwards, and they're like, it was the dye in the cupcakes. I'm like, 100% was, yes. And so they know, and they're able to just kind of regulate themselves. But I mean, that's kind of how we approach it. I just try, food is food. It fuels your body. I hope that they learn just from watching us and from what we serve them, what a healthy, balanced plate looks like. And I think people would be surprised by this, but I buy my kids Takis. If we go to Walgreens and they want Takis, I'll let them get Takis. I order Domino's pizza. They eat Domino's pizza sometimes, but I also cook only organic meats at home. I only buy organic fruits and vegetables. When I serve dinner, it's a protein, a starch, some type of fruit and or vegetable in every single meal. So that's what they expect. So I hope that that just kind of helps them when they get older and they're making their own plates. But like I said, it's tricky. We're all doing the best we can and just hoping that it goes well. Just all crossing our fingers together saying we hope this goes well, because it really is hard, and I feel like I learn something new every single day. They are always keeping us on our toes. The next one is, how do you juggle everything? The short answer is I don't. So I feel like I'm constantly dropping the ball on things. I feel overwhelmed. I feel like when I'm being an awesome mom, I'm being a horrible worker. I don't even know how to say that, like a horrible entrepreneur slash content creator slash health coach slash all the things. So it's like you can only focus your energy on one thing at a time. So be the best at that one thing where you're focusing and try not to multitask. I feel like when I multitask is when things come crashing to the ground, because I'll do like little bits and pieces of things. I won't finish anything and it will all be mediocre at the end of the day. So my goal is to really segment my time. So I'll block out when I'm working, I'll block out when we do the homeschool thing, or when I know I have to be the mom Uber carpool at night. And that's where all of my energy is. So I just try not to be scattered, because I feel like that makes me feel like I'm failing. And I also just try to keep the mentality of the balls, the juggling balls. So some are glass, some are plastic. Which ones are glass? Those are my family. That's my relationships, my faith, the things that are so important to me that I don't want to break. And the other things, if you drop the ball, they'll bounce, they won't break. So that's things like work. Sometimes it's like ditching my workouts, sleeping in, trying to think of other examples, just other things that aren't as high on the priority list. So that helps a lot. Something else that I do is I have my paper planner, and every day I'll just write down 3 things I want to accomplish that day, prioritize them, and just have the awareness that it might not happen, might have to go. I have a lot of arrows in my planner, so just taking it on to the next day, and that's okay too. So I think that removing the pressure from trying to juggle everything, I think that being balanced is a myth. I think it's impossible. I think it's an impossible standard that we put upon ourselves, that everything has to be perfectly balanced and that we have to be killing it at everything all the time. It's just not realistic. And once you let go of that and give yourself grace, you will feel so free. I used to be the most A+ type A type person, and now I'm a comfortable B person, and I've had to become okay with that over time, but it really has changed my life. So I feel like I can still be productive, I can still do the things I want to do and create goals for myself, but I don't have to put as much pressure on myself. So I hope that you can do the same thing. We are not superheroes, we're not robots, we're human. So give yourself a little grace, and just, it's okay to take your foot off the gas pedal sometimes and just reassess what's important to me. What am I going to do today? And everything I'm doing, I'm going to give it my full energy and not be distracted by all of the things in my head that I think I should be doing. So I hope that helps a little bit with that one. Okay, next one, last one. Are you going to move to Spain? That is the question after our trip. So we were there for about 5 weeks. We flew into Barcelona, spent a couple of days there, did a cruise out of Barcelona, which was completely magical, Disney cruise, went to Italy and France, and then back to Barcelona for a few days, and then we flew down to Sevilla, and we were there for 4 weeks. We got to visit some friends, and honestly just really enjoy just being. Because we were there a little bit longer, we didn't have the pressure of trying to do the touristy things all the time. We got to just soak in all of the amazing culture, the food, the people are just so wonderful and so friendly. The language, I got to practice my Spanish, which was really fun, and seeing our friends and kind of like immersing ourselves in that experience. So I got to go to the market each day and pick out what was fresh and what we were going to have for dinner. We did family dinners with our friends, so they would cook a couple of things and then I would cook a couple of things, and we would just all sit in their dining room and eat together. And it was so nice. And we actually were just talking about it last night, kind of where do we go from here? So ever since we've been back, I feel like constantly, I'm just like, what are we doing? It feels like a rat race here in the United States. Every day is just so chaotic and so crazy. And it's not just from like the everyday, like chore work type stuff, but even things like you want to go somewhere, you have to drive 25 minutes each way. I'm just driving all the time. And there's not as huge of an emphasis on valuing community and relationships. I think that you really have to be intentional with friendships. So that's something that's really important to me. So I get together with at least one friend a week for coffee or for a hike or a workout class or dinner or something, because I love to see my friends, but we do have to plan it out like very far in advance. So do you want to get coffee 2 weeks from Tuesday? Okay, yes, I'm free. Okay, I'll put it in my schedule. And in Spain, they're like, do you want to get coffee now? Okay, yeah, let's go. And we would go that instant. And it just felt so different. We were talking about it last night. We basically have 3 potential plans of action. So the first one would be to stay here, just kind of like dig our heels in. We are in Tucson. I really want to open a fitness studio, and it's something I was in the process of doing right before COVID hit. So obviously not the best timing, and I'm glad that it didn't work out. But now that we've been here for a while, I'm like, okay, what's next? What are we going to do? So that's kind of one option. The second option is to pack up everything and move to Europe. So it would either be Spain. I loved Barcelona, and so did the kids. So that would kind of be our number one option. We're also really interested in Germany, and that used to be an option with the pilot's job, but it's no longer an option. So if that were still a possibility, we would do it in a second. I would love to go to Germany. So that's option 2. And then option 3 would be just to buy a bunch of land and become homesteaders and get cows, chickens, goats, the whole deal, make milk and cheese and have a giant garden and can things and live the dream like that. So we were talking about it last night. So we're basically just going to make some pros and cons list and see what ends up happening. But yeah, I feel like we are at a turning point right now because the pilot's not in the military anymore. So we have more flexibility with where we live. Thankfully, my job I'm able to do from anywhere in the world. So I don't really know. So stay tuned. We'll have to see what happens. So thanks for tuning in today. It's always fun to chat with you guys. And of course, like I said, let me know if you have any questions you want me to do in an upcoming Q&A episode. If you have any podcast guest suggestions you would like to hear on the podcast this year. If you enjoy the show, if you wouldn't mind leaving that 5-star rating or review wherever you're listening today, it would mean the world to me. It really helps me to continue to book amazing guests, helps with the visibility of the show. And then afterwards, just head to fitnessista.com/podcast review. So fitnessista.com/podcast review, and I'll send you a copy of my Bar Blast workout for free, a little gift from me to you. Have an amazing day. I'll see you soon. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Healthy in Real Life podcast. For more info, check out Gina's blog at fitnessista.com.